Hi, this is Tom Zavitz and Laval Means with Development Services, City of Missoula, here to talk about the growth policy and give the community an update on where we are. And so I'm going to ask Laval some questions actually that might help us get through a lot of that information. And the first one is, what's going on with the growth policy project right now? I hear there's a public meeting coming up.
Yeah, we are planning to take the draft document that is a guiding document for community development to Planning Board next Tuesday for their review and consideration.
How would a developer use the growth policy?
Well, what he would be looking at, or a developer would be looking at, is what kind of guidance there is in there for projects that might be proposed. So the growth policy provides guidance both on the built environment, like building projects and development, as well as some community development. But to focus on how a developer could use it, they would look at directions from the suggested or the recommended land use map. There's guidance in there for where we would like to direct types of uses towards in our community, and then they'd be looking at the document for descriptions about those land uses.
I know that we've heard a lot about inward growth, and is there give me an example of a type of development that could be directed here, or
what the document talks about a fair amount is trying to encourage development towards places where we already have infrastructure and services. It's really been identified as a great way to make good use of your services, efficient and fiscally sound use of your services. So the document focuses some of the development potential within the core of the city. It's not to say that there isn't opportunity for development of all types all around our community and our urbanizing area, our urban area, but there is more of an emphasis on trying to focus that development towards the core, towards the downtown, towards the closer in places that are near transit services and well-established road systems and trail systems and stuff.
So, and that brings the question to mind, is there room for that?
Well, we've been looking at capacity for growth in the community for many years. Dating back to like the mid-2000s, we've been looking at where are we at with capacity based on our existing zoning. And we know that there is potential for a lot of development or redevelopment, just looking at developable lands in our community. So yes, there's room.
So how can developers use the growth policy?
Well, they will see from the document that there's much more of an emphasis on how we can encourage development towards the places where we have services already, more of a focusing development inward into the core of the community. And then what they'll see with that information is that it's really some of the things that they're doing already, and what we are hoping with this is encouraging more of that and reaffirming it, and maybe finding ways that we can be supportive through our own tools and development regulations to be able to help that along.
How is the community involved in the plan?
Well, since we started this process last summer, we've been engaging community members, talking to them in different venues, places, presentations, and asking them really what they think are the assets in our community and what are some of the challenges that we need to be tackling in this process. So we've been really taking that to heart, and we've been, out of all that process of talking to community members, we asked people if they'd be interested in actually helping develop the policy in this document, and we gained a lot of participation in developing those policy statements. In fact, it was community members that wrote the goals and objectives and the actions in this document.
Top issues that you might want to mention, or the things that rose to the surface, anything new, or are they pretty much the same issues that we've been dealing with, affordability?
I think some of the issues are what we've been dealing with, and we need to continue to deal with. They are like affordability and improved transportation systems, but there's more of an emphasis on ways that we can supplement our transportation and enforce or reinforce other ways of moving around our community, with an emphasis on transit and relationship between transit and where development is occurring. So there's more of an emphasis on that. I think there's more of an emphasis on how we can support and build a healthier built environment. So we're relating to, connecting to our park spaces and our open spaces, and thinking about keeping services closer to where we have residential, so that there's more of a mixing of uses. People don't have to travel quite as far to get to things. That's a part of a healthy environment. So there's more emphasis on mixture, being able to put small services next to where residential is. There's been more of an interest in talking about our climate in this process as well.
The baby boomers are retiring, and I think there's a trend in what they're looking for in their new lives, and can any of that be seen in the plan?
We actually reached out to an aging population early in this process during our listening. We called it listening sessions, to be able to hear what the issues are and ideas are in the community, and they really helped identify a lot of key concerns. Some of it has to do with access, again, to services close to where housing is. It also is about being able to age in place and have the variety in your neighborhood to move from the kind of house you have now to maybe smaller places, all within close proximity. And then having more of a walkable and an accessible community, so that it's easier for people to move around.
I heard a little bit about climate change. Anything in the policy about that?
It has been explored. We have to, when we're developing a growth policy, look at the existing conditions about our community and projected trends. And we've noted that we're living with a changing climate to some degree. And I know that there's lots of research that still is out there to what degree, but things are changing. And so we do talk about it both from understanding our existing conditions and then what that might mean to what we look like as a community in the future. That could be how we deal with wildland fires around the edges of our city, and the kinds of choices we make in terms of where development occurs close to those edges and the wild edges of our city.
Okay, so plan for the next 20 years.
It is.
And I'm kind of at the end of questions. How can the public comment?
Well, what the public could do is take a look at the document. It is on our website, which is www.ourmissoula.org. And it's the picture of the document is over there on the right side of the website. They can click on that. There is right next to it a link for the proposed recommended future land use map, and I encourage them to take a look at it. That is the first thing to do. And then if they've got some thoughts either in support or some concerns about it, provide comments. So they can provide comments right there online. They can submit comments via email, and they could also attend the public hearing that we will be having with Planning Board. And that's really the first step in this governing body review process. Planning Board's going to be looking at the document, providing recommendations, considering the comment, and then they're going to forward that to City Council. City Council is going to be looking at it again. So there will be continued ways for the public to provide comment, both before Planning Board and before City Council, as that time comes nearer.
Great. That sounds good. I think that wraps this update up, and hope to see everybody either watching or maybe even giving comments at Planning Board.
Thanks, Tom.
You're welcome.